Hi all, let's continue our preparation against Chess Explained. One of his pet moves, which he's been using with great effect, is 2 knight f3. So I'm looking here at chessgames.com, in particular Vishy and Anand is, with the black pieces. And Anand's favourite move seems to be from this games database to play e6, and he's had a 59% record. So e6 with 22 games. So what happens after that? c4. Does he just go into Queen's Gambit decline territory with d5? No. His idea is b6, 110 games. So b6, we're into sort of Queen's Indian territory. So white usually just goes into Queen's Indian territory with g3. So that's interesting. You know, Anand didn't go, if we look at the subtlety of this, very rarely after knight f6 he's playing g6. King's Indian. Well, not very rarely. 18 games with g6. And I wonder about this c4 and if anyone played bishop f4. No, that's difficult to test. There's no bishop f4. Okay, maybe bishop f4 does set up a tactical target. But let's go back into this. So Anand's favourite thing is just Queen's Indian territory here anyway, with b6. So after g3. Black's trying to get control of that e4 square, or not? No, not bishop b7, but bishop a6. If the bishop's fianchettoing here, then c4 is logically a bit weaker. So b3, a common response here. Check. Bishop d2. Bishop goes back to e7. This is a long Queen's Indian theoretical line. c6 blocking up the diagonal. Bishop c3, now d5. So this is the solid way to play the position against knight f3. So exchanging off knights with that knight retreating to d7, otherwise c6 is left and pre, not the other knight. So after the knight exchange, Black's game is getting a little bit freer, potentially, and there's still some pressure on c4. So there's still a good win rate for Black in this line after knight f6. Okay, about equal after e4. Karpov Anand saw rook e1. Let's go on to e4. So here Black can play b5 in response to e4. So really c4 is becoming a target, a major target. And Black set up that sort of ironclad fortress triangle in the centre against the fianchettoed bishop. So I guess this is a good system. So if we go back, after d4 knight f6, I think I should stop having nightmares about g6 here. g6 can transpose back into a King's Indian. Okay, bishop f4 was tried in PK Anand, sort of London system type torture. So let's just finish with this, having a look at this game. So London System Torture for Anand by Jerome Piquet, who went to work for Ustream, I think, after. So this is in 1984, the World Under-20 Junior Championship, when they were both juniors though. So how did Anand play this position? So d6, now knight c6. Now my opponent mentioned, Chess Explained mentioned knight fd7 and then e5. I wonder if that's the case here. No, just rook e8, bishop f5. So no rush to play e5, connecting in effect the rooks. If there's going to be queen exchanges, the rooks are connected. So bishop f5, exploiting the fact that white hasn't played the e4 move, and he would have to prepare it now somewhat. Even after knight c3, it still wouldn't be prepared. So bishop f5, interesting move. Now e5. And of course it's not losing a pawn because this rook can recapture the queen. So e5 is kept maintained with the knight and the rook here. So that bishop f5 is a key move, I think, to connect rooks to make e5 more effective and playable. Now knight e4, that was an interesting move, just for freeing, I think, Black's game to try and get the knight exchange. Now g5. Now I think I've seen a similar idea in an Jacobian video recently of knight e4 as the prelude for a g5. It's a way of Black getting some space on the king side. The queenside onslaught isn't such a big deal. And the bishop's not on the ideal diagonal anyway. So let's see. Let's carry on. Okay, it's a complicated game now. So there's a kind of queenside pressure going. The queen seems awkwardly placed on A8. Remember, they're both juniors. It's not like in their prime, but it's interesting anyway. Check, check. Queen G3. Now Anand's all over his king, it seems here. He's got to his king. But let's have a look. Why didn't, after E5, why wasn't bishop H2? Sorry, bishop H2 did happen. But then later we saw G5 and the bishop didn't go back to H2. Possibly because things like H5, G4, G3 might be on the cards, as well as D4 becoming vulnerable. So against H5 and G4, D4 is under fire. So that's probably why bishop E3 was played here. So even if a King's Indian did arise, this could be a way of playing it against this this system with C4 instead of C3. This kind of optimized London system. So that's why I was a little bit annoyed with C4. But I think a key move must be bishop F5. I don't know if you guys agree in this position. The principle of playing for E5 seems to be valid, but you have to play bishop F5 and then E5. Then take on D4. And the idea of this is to slightly weaken D4 actually. They've got no support from pawns underneath. So this is now the new pawn chain, this pawn on D4. So how would you undermine it? Well, if you can get a knight to E4, then the queen is now protecting the G5 square, making way for G5, H5, G4 to undermine D4. So this strategy all fits together quite well from black. He's making sure C7 is not vulnerable and the queen's side. And now he's coming back into the centre in this sort of transaction. I think it's okay for black here. It looks visually as though black solved a lot of the problems. He gives up his dark square bishop there, but he's liberating his position. Queen B8, and now after that F3, I think D3. This pawn means trouble, sacrificing this other pawn. The king safety issues coming now with this queen getting very, very aggressive and near the king. So white was in real trouble now. So that was an interesting game in the junior championship, where this system of knight F3. But what Anand does, it seems, as a sort of usually is not that. He just plays that system where C4 is the target of attack. So he doesn't play actually G6. He plays E6. Statistically he's playing E6. Although G6 is playable, it's 18 to 22 games. They're both playable moves. But this is an interesting system for a good win rate while keeping a super solid triangle of pawns in the centre, just fighting against C4. So that's interesting. This main line here, if we just go through the top, the most popular path, we just get this struggle revolving around C4. This check isn't a waste of time because it disrupts white's protection of D2. And then so black later gets that fortress in the centre with the pawns on D5 and C6, and also just stuffing that diagonal, making sure that bishop is not that effectual on G2. Okay. And then later to react to E4 by playing B5, as we saw later. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.